And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Movie Pit Podcast. I am your host, Christian. Thank you very much for joining me today. As you can tell from the audio, no, I didn't lose my mic. I have a guest on the podcast today. I promise. I didn't promise. I said I tried to do it, and I came up with it. So I have a guest on the podcast today. Of course, we're going to run down all the movie news. We're going to do Oscar picks. We'll talk about the movies that are coming out this week. And even next week, because there will be no podcast next week, because I will be going out of town for some family business. So there'll be no podcast next week. Just want to get that out there right now. So I'm going to let my guest introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Danny. We are former co-workers at Morning College Radio.
Yes, this is the inception of
the Movie Pit
podcast.
We are, yeah.
Yeah, so it was there where I was like, yeah, you know what, I want to start a podcast because I don't want to swear when I get angry. So we're going to run down the movie news. Of course, as we always do, we're running down the movie news that came out after the podcast went up last week. And we're only going to, for this week's news items, we're just going to talk about the real big ones because I don't know how long we'll be going for the Oscar stuff. So I don't want to, I mean, it's a podcast, it's going to run long, but I don't want it to run too long. So
I think it's going to be the most political Oscars ever. Well, is it?
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
We'll talk about that. I have thoughts on it, so we'll talk about it. I know you have thoughts.
Yeah.
So let's get right into the movie news items that came out last week. We can just run past these. These aren't not too big. I mean, they're big, but they're not. The Purge 4 is set to come out on Independence Day 2018. And the creator of the series, James DeMonaco, will only come back as a writer and producer. He directed the last three. I can't count now. 3 films, but he's stepping down. And lets someone else take over the director's chair. We don't know what it's about, but he has talked about in the past wanting it to be a prequel. So we may see that. We'll see how that turns out. The live action, well, it's not really live action, but it is live action. Lion King movie has added Donald Glover and James Earl Jones to the cast. Glover will voice Simba, while James Earl Jones will, of course, once again voice Mufasa. Because no one else can play Mufasa.
No one can.
No one can. Jon Favreau will direct the movie with technology he used for the Jungle Book, so that's pretty cool. And we'll talk about Jungle Book later because it is nominated for an Oscar. No word yet on when the film will be released, but I'm pretty sure they'll take their time with that. We talk about the DCEU. We love talking about DC on the podcast. So I love getting angry at the DCEU because they make it so damn easy. But one good news item that came out last week was that David F. Sandberg, who directed Lights Out last year, will direct, or is in talks to direct, Shazam, which, for those of you unfamiliar with the character, Shazam is a superpowered entity who has super strength, speed, and mental abilities, who only appears in human form, but Shazam, the actual person, appears only when the person he's not controlling. It's really weird. I haven't read a lot of Shazam stuff, but Billy Baston is the kid, and when he yells Shazam, Shazam shows up, and he's this ultra super powerful guy. So Sandberg, I like Sandberg. I liked Lights Out. Did you see Lights Out?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. I liked it. I thought it was good, and I think he's a very talented filmmaker, and the fact that he's getting some more stuff is pretty cool. So Shazam currently has a release date for 2019, and we do know that Shazam will be split into 2 films because
it's
superheroes. So the first film will focus probably on him, and the second film will follow on Black Adam, which is the villain that's being played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So one news item that connects to this week's news items is Matt Reeves. So last week, after the podcast went up, and I was really upset about this because I wanted to talk about it on the podcast. Matt Reeves' negotiations had dropped between him and Warner Brothers to direct the Batman, as they do, because fucking Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers I wonder, are they losing money due to all this?
I don't think so. No? I don't know. I think they're not losing money. They're losing credibility.
And talent.
Or at least for the DC properties.
And talent.
Yeah. So Matt Reeves had dropped out because negotiations were getting fired up apparently, and he dropped out. And that was a news item that came out last week. Now this week, it was revealed that Matt Reeves has officially signed on to direct the Batman. So what a week things happen. There was this funny meme by another podcast I listened to. They posted, it was like they had the headline from last week, and they showed Ben Affleck's Batman. He said, "Now on my watch," and they showed the Batman card from Batman and Robin, the Batman credit card, and then at the bottom it was the headline for this week that Matt Reeves officially signs on. So I thought that was fun. Blurred Vision was the podcast if you want to go check that out. But Matt Reeves has officially signed on to direct and produce the Batman. So that was different because he wasn't going to originally produce the Batman, but he now is going to produce it. Reeves released a statement saying, quote, "I love the Batman story since I was a child. He is such an iconic and compelling character, one that resonates with me deeply. I'm incredibly honored and excited to be working with Warner Brothers to bring an epic and emotional new take on the Caped Crusader to the big screen." I like Reeves. He's directed the last two Planet of the Apes movies. Dawn of Planet of the Apes, and then the upcoming one, The War for Planet of the Apes. He's directed Cloverfield, which I liked. It's one of those movies where you like it. I didn't mind Cloverfield. No, I thought it was good. No. And he's directed some others. For some reason, I can't remember the other thing he directed, but he's directed some other stuff. So I'm a huge fan of him, and if anyone's going to replace Ben Affleck as a director, then Matt Reeves is a good choice. There's currently still no release date for the Batman, but apparently they want a 2019 release date, which means they'll have to start filming later this year, early next year. So good job, DCEU. You haven't pissed me off this week. Pissed me off last week, though. And I won't be ending with a DCEU rant again for like the 5th week in a row on the podcast.
And with a Marvel rant. They don't exist.
They don't exist.
No.
They don't exist.
No.
And I'm not Marvel fanboys. Fuck you if you think that. It's just the DCEU. It's. I mean, they fixed this, which is good. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, you're not.
They screwed up Green Lantern, and now they said no more Green Lantern, and now they want to do a new Green Lantern.
Now they want to do a new Green Lantern.
Yeah.
It's coming out 2020?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, something like that.
Are they actually going to do a costume, or are they going to do a CGI costume again?
I think they're going to wait to see how people take Cyborg, because Cyborg's pretty much all CGI. Except for his face.
That's like... I don't...
I mean, they're doing the motion capture, but he's doing all CGI. They're doing it with all CGI, and it looks a little wonky. From the pictures. I mean, it could look good in the movie.
Okay.
So good job, DCU. There's a rumor going out that The Fate of the Furious, which I still hate that title, for the next Fast and Furious movie, will run 2.5 hours long. And before anyone starts bitching, Furious 7 was 2 hours and 17 minutes. So don't complain about a long Fast and Furious. Logan will have a post-credit sequence. There's no wording on what the sequence is because they're shooting it, or have already shot it, because the version that was screened for critics didn't have the post-credit scene. So it was added afterwards. So no one knows what the post-credit scene is. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, people know what it is, but us, the critics and fans, don't know what it is. Okay. So if you're sitting down with Logan, wait till the end credits.
Getting out of retirement.
That's it. That's Logan's. That's it. It's over.
Yeah. Unless he does, what is it? Marvel.
Deadpool. Well, he said there's an interview that came out. I think it was yesterday.
Okay.
Because it's going up today. So yesterday, that he would keep playing Wolverine if Wolverine was in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah.
So get on it.
Yeah.
Get on it. It's gonna be sad when he leaves. But, all right. Next news item: Kyle Chandler has joined Godzilla King of Monsters. We don't know how big his role will be, but he will play the father character to Millie Bobby Brown's character in the film. So it's playing father and daughter in the film. The movie will be directed by Michael Doug Hardy, who directed Krampus and Trick or Treat, and will be co-written by him and Zach Shields, who they both did Krampus together. We don't know what the film's actually going to be about, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be about Godzilla destroying stuff.
Yeah.
That's probably what's going to be.
I didn't like how people complained in the first film that Godzilla didn't get any airtime. I thought that's what made the film great.
That's what the original one did too. Everyone seems to forget about that. I was like, he's not in it. I
like the new Godzilla with him.
I liked it too. I thought it was great. I thought the way they poured him out throughout the film was great.
Yeah.
I thought like little teases at the beginning, that was great, okay, cool, and then at the end, because that's where you're waiting for. You're waiting for the end. That's how every Godzilla movie is, pretty much, and everyone was like...
Except the first American one, which everyone's...
We forget about that. That doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. Oh, man, that movie was terrible.
Yeah.
I liked the first Godzilla. That was good.
Yeah.
That's me. Right. The film currently has a March 22nd, 2018 release date. And, of course, it would eventually lead to the Godzilla vs. King Kong movie coming out on May 29th, 2020. So... and since we're talking about Kong Skull Island, we'll have a post-credit scene as well. Probably start teasing that out. The Predator has added 2 more cast members. Affie Allen, who plays Theon on Game of Thrones, will play an ex-soldier who joins other ex-soldiers to fight the Predator. And the other one is Ivana Strahovski. I always mispronounce her name wrong. She's in Final Negotiations. She was in Chuck, TV show Chuck.
Oh yeah. Wait, was she the Australian woman?
She was the Australian.
Okay.
Well, she's really Australian in the show.
Yeah, but in the show
she was American.
In Mass Effect, she was Australian.
That's right. She used her natural voice in that show.
Yeah.
Or not her natural voice. Her real voice.
Real voice.
Her voice.
Yeah.
So she will play the ex-wife of Boyd Holbrook's character in the film. Predator is currently being filmed at the moment. They actually started filming this week. And is directed by Shane Black. And will be co-written by him and Fred Decker, who did The Monster Squad, and will be released next year on February 9th. This is some sad news. Guillermo del Toro says that Hellboy 3 is not happening.
I was mad when he sent me that.
Yeah, you said that, right?
No, I love Hellboy. When I
liked Hellboy too.
When I was younger, before the movies came out, I would read the comics, the Dark Horse comics. And I was like, when Netflix had the 2 animated movies, I was like, I watched them over and over again.
Yeah. This is disappointing. This is disappointing. So, of course,
getting screwed over.
He does. All these projects, just like he can't catch a break.
No.
I would have loved to see his At the Mountains of Madness, the version he was going to do. But anyway, Guillermo del Toro said that the long gesturing film is not happening. He recently sat down with star Ron Perlman, who has been wanting to do it for a while, and comic creator Mike Mignola to discuss the third film, but it appears the meeting didn't go well. Del Toro went on Twitter saying, spoke with all parties, must report that 100% the sequel will not happen, and that is to be the final thing about it. So we don't know what happened in the meeting.
Is he usually stingy with his projects? Like he wants to manage it all by himself?
No, I think I haven't heard anything like that from Guillermo del Toro. Okay. No, I mean, he has lavish idea. I mean, obviously Pacific Rim was a very lavish idea.
Yeah.
But he has said multiple times though, when he wanted to do Hellboy 3, that he wanted it to be the most expensive one out of all. Oh. So he has said that multiple times in the past. But I didn't know this, but when I was reading the report, it said that Hellboy 1 and Hellboy 2, I didn't realize it, were released by different studios. Hellboy was released through Columbia Pictures, which is owned by Sony, and Hellboy 2 was released through Universal Pictures.
Oh.
Which is something I didn't even know.
No wonder Hellboy 2 is better.
So the films didn't make as much money as they hoped for. I mean, they made money. They made enough money. Obviously, they made enough money for a sequel. But they didn't make enough money that the studio was like, we're not going to give you more money for it.
Well, isn't Hellboy such a niche thing?
It is. Yeah, it is. Because not a lot of people know about it. No.
Because
I remember when I first saw the first movie, when I first saw Hellboy, I didn't know he was a comic book character.
No.
I only saw from the trailers based on the comic. I was like, oh, it's a comic. And after I saw Hellboy, I started reading some of the comics and stuff like that. And Hellboy 2 came out, and you can tell when I walked in there, it was opening day, and it was like a bunch of nerds.
A bunch of nerds. Yeah.
There was a bunch of nerds that you knew they were only here because they know Hellboy.
All knew Hellboy.
And then I saw it again with a bunch of friends, and it was practically empty. So I was like, okay, it's a niche thing.
It's a niche thing,
But it's still good. If you haven't seen any of the 2 Hellboys, I do recommend you watch it. So. Drew Goddard is working on the Deadpool 2 script. It doesn't mean that Rhett Reese and Paul Rennick they're still attached. Originally it was reported, it sounded like from the original report that they weren't involved anymore. But Ryan Reynolds came out and said, no, they're still involved, settle down. So Drew Goddard is attached to work on the script with Ryan Reynolds. Goddard is, for those of you guys that know him by name, he is kind of a nerd. He's a nerd. He's a bit of a nerd. He co-wrote and directed The Cabin in the Woods. He did a bunch of writing episodes for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Lost, Angel, Alias. He wrote the scripts for Cloverfield, which we talked about earlier, the rewrite for World War Z, and The Martian. And he also was involved in bringing Netflix's Daredevil to life. And he was originally going to do the Sinister Six for Sony before they decided to reboot Spider-Man all over again. And when the news came out that they were going to do Deadpool 2, he was in talks to be one of the directors. But now he's going to be writing it, which is pretty cool. I like Drew Goddard. I like everything he's done so far. So
it's going to be tough for the sequel for Deadpool specifically. That's going to be tough to top.
It is. Yeah. It is. Because now we know what to expect. Like, everyone didn't like, Deadpool, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
And they saw it. They're like, oh, yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to, I don't know how they're going to.
Top that, yeah. It's gonna be hard.
So we'll see what happens. I personally like Drew Goddard, so I think he's going to be a really good asset to that. Joe Carnahan, we're going to stick to the X-Men related stuff, X-Men universe. Joe Carnahan is writing the X-Force screenplay. And if you don't know Joe Carnahan's name by now, listen to my podcast. First of all, shame on you, because he's a great director and great writer. And I mention him all the time on here too. So he's a very busy man who doesn't need sleep apparently, because he not only is he working on the script and he's going to direct Bad Boys 3. He's doing the script for Uncharted, the video game, which he said will be rated R. At least the script that he wrote was rated R.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see if they have the balls to do a rated R Uncharted movie. He's doing the script for 5 Against a Bullet. He's doing the script for Death Wish that I believe was already done filming. They did some filming here in Chicago.
Who's playing the new guy?
Bruce Willis is doing. I know.
Dude, that's so.
I think it's Bruce Willis. I'm pretty sure it's Bruce Willis.
Well, that's like such a different.
That defeats the purpose. Yeah, that defeats the purpose. And it's gonna be phoned in. It's like,
yeah.
And he's also doing the reimagining for The Raid, which we talked about here on the podcast last week. I believe we talked about it. And now he's doing the screenplay for X-Force. For those of you guys who don't know about X-Force, it is a team of mutants who is more militaristic in a lot of ways with their missions. And the team has included a bunch of people. Cable was the first leader. He will, of course, appear in Deadpool 2. Other people have been involved: Wolverine, Deadpool, Domino, Psylocke, Colossus, Bishop, and Forge, and a bunch of other people as well. The film currently doesn't have a director, but I can only imagine if Fox likes Joe Carnahan's script, they would ask him to do it if he wanted to.
Okay, so it is Fox. It's not Marvel.
It's Fox. It's Marvel in name, because it is Fox doing it, because they have the distribution rights because of the whole.
I just prefer Fox doing X-Men more than
other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's all they have.
That's all they have, so they're really good at it.
They've already fucked up Fantastic Four. So there's that. And going off X-Men, Simon Kinberg is in talks to write and direct the next X-Men film. Now, rumors broke out last month. I'll give you guys a little history. Rumors broke out last month that another X-Men film will be worked on over at Fox that was called X-Men Supernova. And this was after reports came out that Fox was reassessing, quote unquote, their X-Men franchise after X-Men Apocalypse came out.
I watched it on Amazon. And it was okay. It was good. It was okay. It wasn't X2.
Yeah, it wasn't X2. It wasn't even X-Men Days of Future Past.
No.
It was a passable X-Men.
It was better than X3.
Anything's better than X3. Yeah, it's better. Anything's better than X3.
Yeah.
Or X-Men Origins. Anything's better than those. So they were reassessing the X-Men franchise, and then this rumor came out, and then Sophie Turner, who plays Jean Grey in X-Men Apocalypse, came out saying that she was getting ready to film the next X-Men movie, which no one knew what she was talking about because there was no next X-Men movie announced. And the film would focus, later we found out that the film would focus on the Dark Phoenix storyline, which was already done in X3. That was butchered.
Are they gonna do it better this time?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't.
Yeah.
They can't. It can't get any worse than Brett Ratner's.
Yeah. Is he gone from Hollywood now?
Brett Ratner? No, didn't he direct something? He directed. What did he direct? Tower Heist, like years ago.
Well,
it wasn't that
years
good.
ago.
Years ago.
Yeah. Now he's.
I haven't heard Brett Ratner's name in a while. So
No. He's gone.
So I hope he's gone. He's not good. So that was the case. And the rumored X-Men movie was in the works. The only other X-Men films that we knew of, besides X-Force that was being worked on, was New Mutants, which that's about to start filming soon as well. So now all of this leads to, of course, this news item. Steve Weintraub over at Collider got an exclusive that writer-producer Simon Kinberg is looking to make his directorial debut with the next X-Men film. Plus, he's already written a screenplay for the film. Collider was also able to confirm that the focus will be on the Dark Phoenix storyline, but they couldn't confirm any other casting besides Sophie Turner. And this seems like a natural step for Kinberg because he has been involved in all the X-Men stuff. He's basically the Kevin Feige for the X-Men stuff over at Fox. So he's been involved in all the X-Men films since the first one. He's been involved with Deadpool. He's been involved with Legion, which is on FX, which is fucking awesome. And he's been involved in a bunch of other projects, not just X-Men stuff. He's been involved with like The Martian, and I think he was a producer on Chappie. He's a bunch of others. Like if you look at his IMDb credit, you'll see how many projects he's been involved in. It's crazy. So
is Bryan Singer taking a sleep?
Bryan Singer I think he's involved as a producer.
Okay.
Not as a director, because
he was a writer and the director of X-Men Apocalypse.
Apocalypse and X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah, well, the beginning of Apocalypse reminded me of X2.
That's Singer's touch.
Yeah.
So Bryan Singer's being a producer because he wants to move on from it. Although if it doesn't work out with Kinberg, I'm sure they'll bring the dumpster truck full of money to Singer's doorstep. And come back, man. So they'll do that. But yeah, new X-Men film. It's not confirmed yet, so settle down unless something breaks. Of course, or from now.
Yeah, she could have said it. Because the producer said, we won't announce it, you'll announce it.
Yeah, I know. Like, go ahead and do it. Yeah. And if we don't do it, it'll be your fault. So there you go. So there you go. All right. So this is the last news item, at least at the time of this recording, which is about the DCEU. See? I don't bash the DCEU every time I do the podcast. Although it is very easy.
Yeah.
Although I'm going to do a little bashing on this. So I just want to throw it out there. Warner Brothers is developing a Nightwing movie with the Lego Batman movie director, Chris McKay. So they are developing a Nightwing film, which those who are not familiar with Nightwing, he's essentially the first Robin. He's Dick Grayson.
Is it the DCU version or is it going to be the Christian Bale version?
It's going to be the DCU version. This is why I'm going to start bashing it.
It should be the Christian Bale version.
It should, but they're not going to do it because they're morons. That's right, that's right, fucking Warner Brothers. He is the first Robin, Dick Grayson, who of course became his own hero after leading the Teen Titans. He took the persona of Nightwing and became a fan favorite with comic book
He married
readers.
Starfire.
Did he marry Teen Titans?
And then something I don't know what happened.
No.
in the comics,
keep changing stuff.
Yeah,
New 52, all of it stuff.
Yeah.
It could have happened. Right?
Yeah, it could have happened.
So the film will be a live-action movie, and Chris McKay will make his live-action directorial debut. Of course, like I mentioned, he directed the Lego Batman movie, which was awesome. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. And McKay's a great choice because he already showed that he can handle
something
Batman material.
Yeah.
And so well too. So now the question, of course, becomes, as we were just mentioning, is how does it fit into the DC extended universe?
Yeah.
Dick Grayson hasn't been introduced yet. We haven't seen him. We haven't even heard him or heard his name. We've seen the Robin suit in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, but we don't know if it was him in the suit or if it was someone else. So we don't know. Now, the reason why I'm going to bash this a little bit is because Warner Brothers should stop fucking doing spin-off movies.
Yeah.
And they should focus on the stuff they have set already. Because now this is their third or fourth spin-off movie, because they got...
Marvel's first spin-off was Guardians of the Galaxy.
In some way, yeah.
Well, it was their first successful.
Yeah. In a lot of ways it was, because it was one of their first characters where like, no one knows these characters.
Yeah.
And now we do. But they got Gotham City Sirens, which is the Harley Quinn spinoff, which, do we need a Harley Quinn spinoff? No, we don't. They're working on a supposedly solo Deadshot movie, which we don't need. And then now they're doing this. They don't need to do this. They should be working on I've said it multiple times on the podcast already. Wonder Woman. I hope Wonder Woman's good, because if it's not good, I'm gonna throw a fucking tantrum.
I really want to see that one.
If Wonder Woman is not good, and then they come out with Justice League, and that's not good either, all the faith they have, even the most loyal DC comic book movie fanboys, they're gonna be like, nope. And they should. Yeah. And they should do that. And if they don't do that, they're fools. I don't care. Give me the heat. All three of you that listen to my podcast, you can give me heat. They have to. And if Wonder Woman is good, despite all the rumors saying that it's a mess, which I don't believe. I try not to believe, because
they're saying it's a mess.
They're saying there was rumors came out. Well, there was a letter that came out like months. It was last year. It was like It was a handful of months ago. That said, it was someone who doesn't work at Warner Bros. Anymore, and they said that Wonder Woman was a mess. And then
in terms of the movie itself,
in terms of the movie itself. Okay. No, the movie itself.
Okay.
And then, which is weird, because Wonder Woman had only been done filming for like a few weeks, and they probably hadn't had enough time to put an assembly cut together. And Warner Bros. Came out and said that's not true.
Okay.
Fine, you're a disgruntled former employee.
True.
You don't have any say. And then it was like a few weeks ago, or maybe last month, that another rumor came out saying Wonder Woman may not be looking so good. So everyone was like, no, that's just a rumor. That's just. But every rumor we've heard so far of the DCAU is
true.
True.
Okay.
Or practically true.
Oh wow.
So I hope Wonder Woman's good, and Wonder Woman has to be good.
Yeah.
Because if it isn't good, like I mentioned, they're gonna start losing fans. Fans are gonna start losing faith.
Yeah.
But if it is good, Justice League has to be. Now, it doesn't have to be good. It has to be great. In my opinion, it has to be great or awesome, because you can't have a high. And then Wonder Woman, and then just sink it down below with Justice League. Because if you do that, for me, it's like, okay, like no, you showed me you can do good. You show me you can do awesome. You show me you can do excellent. And then you give me this crap. Like, you can't do that. No. You can't do that to your fans. So, I'm excited for Nightwing. Nightwing is a very popular character, and I hope they do it justice.
Why don't they have what was the director of the original?
Christopher Nolan.
Why don't they just put him as part of like a executive?
Well, he produced Man of Steel, and that was pretty much it.
They should put him in an executive role at Warner Brothers, just so he can watch everybody who does a DC Universe thing.
I don't think even if they put someone in charge of that, they wouldn't be able to control it, because Warner Brothers feels like it's a chicken with its head cut off. Because we don't have a clear cut person. We don't have like a Kevin Feige. Everyone says like, oh, it's Jeff Johns. No, it's not Jeff Johns, because he's the head of DC Entertainment now. But Warner Bros. Is the ones that are coming in and be like, snip, snip, snip. No, we're not doing that. And that's what it feels like. It feels like they have too many. They don't have a clear cut person who's in charge. Whereas for Marvel, it's Kevin Feige. Yeah. And Kevin Feige has his shit locked down.
So is everyone in at the Brothers?
It doesn't feel like we don't have like a clear cut person saying,
is there infighting?
This is the person who's in charge. This is the person making decisions.
Yeah.
Because you can say it's Jeff Johns, but it doesn't feel like it's Jeff Johns.
No.
It feels like it's Warner Brothers coming in and being like, step aside.
Oh, micromanaging?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
That's what it feels like.
Micromanaging is
That's what it feels like. I mean, Matt Reeves, who dropped out saying like, no, I'm not doing your movie, and then a week later, like, yeah, I'm doing your movie.
Okay.
And then Ben Affleck coming out. Everyone likes to blame Ben Affleck, but Ben Affleck coming out like the week before saying, yeah, I'm directing, and then like a week later, I'm not directing.
Yeah.
It's a mess over there.
Yeah. Warner Brothers.
And that's a shame, because Warner Brothers is a really good studio. They've released nothing but great films. Recently they've had hit and misses, but in the past they were a great studio. So it's frustrating.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all news items that came out, at least at the time of this recording. If anything big drops, of course, you can go to the Facebook page and now pimp that out afterwards. Let's move on to trailer talk. New trailer for King Arthur: Legend of the Sword came out.
That looks pretty good though.
It doesn't.
It just has a lot of CGI. It's not like the 2000 Gladiator.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's directed by Guy Ritchie, so I mean, you gotta take that into account.
Okay.
But even when I was watching this trailer, I was like, okay, I'm getting into it, and then like all like the CGI starts starting, like when he pulls out the sword and looks like he's whipping it around. It's like a laser field. I'm like, what the fuck? What the hell am I watching?
Yeah.
But the first trailer, the one they released for Comic-Con, like it kept getting crazier and crazier because there was like a big rock monster, which is not in this trailer.
No.
But it's like, okay, like all right, I get behind this a little bit. It doesn't look that bad. Like I'm a fan of Guy Ritchie, so I'm definitely gonna go watch it. It's a summer movie. I'm gonna go watch it. So. And then a 5-minute prologue came out for Alien Covenant. It is not part of the movie. It is a short film that will not be shown in the actual movie, so it's its own little thing. And the prologue is basically pretty much showing off the crew, all the characters that are going to be in Alien Covenant before they go into cryosleep. So we're imagining that the movie's going to start off with them waking up from cryosleep. And it was actually directed by Luke Scott, which is the son of Ridley Scott, who is the director of Alien Covenant.
Kind of reminds me of Prometheus itself. So, and you mentioned that it wasn't directed by Ridley Scott, so
the short wasn't directed.
Yeah, so it might not be actually Prometheus level. It might actually be good.
Well, I didn't mind Prometheus.
You know,
I wasn't a fan of it, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
like a lot of people did.
Everybody hated it. It took me a second.
It was different.
A second, yeah.
Because when it was announced, like, oh, it's an Alien prequel, so it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna see some people get fucked up, and it became more of a kind of like a very like sci-fi-ish movie. Well, not ish. It was a sci-fi.
Yeah.
So prologue. I mean, it's a good little thing. I mean, even if you don't watch it, I mean, you're not missing much. You're just missing some of the dynamic between the cast members, which I'm sure they'll show more of in the film. What it does show off is Michael Fassbender, who's probably going to be pulling, or not probably, he is going to be pulling double duty because he's coming back as David, and he's coming back as a new android that this ship has of him. So that's pretty cool. So it should be interesting to see kind of. I hope they give him different outfits because it'd be like, which one am I watching? But yeah, this new robot though from Michael Fassbender looks very different. Yeah. Like he's actually like he makes a joke in the it doesn't like it's not really a joke for him, but it's a joke for everyone else. Yeah.
I've got your back.
I got your back. When he hits her in the back, like, I got your back. And everyone was like, was that a joke? I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, if you want to go watch that, of course, links will be down below. The link for King Arthur: Legend of the Sword will also be down below as well. Let's talk about the releases, and then we'll go into the Oscar picks. Because the Oscar picks are going to be probably the longest. So let's go to this week's releases. For this week, we have a limited release of Bitter Harvest, which is based off the true event between the two world wars, and it tells the story of the famine engineered by Joseph Stalin at the time. Yeah. The film follows what people endured and how they rebelled and survived against the Soviet Union. It's a limited release film, so if you want to go check that out, you can. I mean, the trailers didn't really pull me in. I've seen the trailer twice now.
Who directed it?
I didn't write that down.
Is it a foreign movie?
It's a foreign movie in the sense that it tells.
Okay, well, but is it made by an American studio?
I think it's distributed by an American studio. Okay. I don't think it's an American film. But I mean,
I love Stalin.
Who says that?
People who are forced to see
people who are
working at the gulag. I love Stalin. Please don't shoot me.
And then doesn't matter because they get shot.
Yeah.
So that's your limited release. Your wide releases this week are an animated film, Rock Dog. When a radio falls from the sky in the hands of a wide-eyed Tibetan mastiff, he leaves home to fulfill his dream of becoming a musician, setting into motion a series of complete unexpected events. The voice cast includes Luke Wilson, Eddie Izzard, J.K. Simmons, Louis Black, Mae Whitman, Matt Dillon, and Sam Elliott. The next film is Collide. It is an American backpacker who gets involved in a ring of drug smugglers as their driver, though he winds up on the run from his former employees in a high-speed Autobahn. That film stars Nicholas Hoult, Felicity Jones, Ben Kingsley, and Anthony Hopkins. And the final film that's coming out this week is Get Out, written and directed by Jordan Peele. Yes, that Jordan Peele from Key and Peele. A young African-American man visits his Caucasian girlfriend's mysterious family estate. The film stars Allison Williams, Daniel, Kaluuya, pronouncing that last name wrong. Bradley Whitford, Catherine Keener, and Caleb Landry Jones.
Is that the horror movie?
That is the horror movie.
Yeah, I think that's going to get good reviews because that's flipping everything on its head.
It's getting good reviews.
It is?
It's getting really good reviews.
I think it's like a horror movie based on like what?
It's
racism?
It's basically
a horror movie.
That's what it is. It's
a horror movie based on racism.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's getting awesome.
Oh wow, I want to see that.
It's getting 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I'm not a big fan of Rotten Tomatoes. I've said that in the past. I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes.
No.
If you want if that's your thing, then that's your thing.
It's based on personal preference.
And it's this weird algorithm that they do. But it's getting 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is very rare for a lot of movies to keep.
Wow. Is it out already?
It comes out today.
Ooh.
So Get Out, Collide, and Rock Dog. Rock Dog is an animated film that doesn't look that good. And Collide is a movie that was supposed to come out last year. Yeah, last year, but it was under Relatively Media, which went into bankruptcy. So a lot of their films got pushed back and got folded up and everything. So now a new studio is releasing this. I believe it's Open Road Films. But yeah, and then Get Out, of course, is the big one. And next week, we might as well talk about the movies that are coming out next week. So that, again, I won't be here.
Is Wolverine out yet?
Wolverine will come out next week on March 3rd.
Yeah.
And that looks awesome. It's also getting a lot of good reviews.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Saying it's the best X-Men film, even though it's not really an X-Men film.
No.
So there's that. There is The Shack, which is a religious movie for pretty much all intended purposes. And a young adult novel adaptation of Before I Fall, which is basically like a teenage
love story.
Girl Groundhog Day-esque movie.
Is it about love?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I've only seen the trailer a few times, and I kind of tone it out.
That's just
because it's not targeted toward me, so I'm like, I don't give a shit. So there you go. Those are your movies. So I'll usually do box office predictions, but since I won't be doing a podcast next week, there's no reason to do box office predictions. But I do hope that Get Out does a really good job, getting really great reviews. So it's gonna put the Lego Movie. It's gonna give them some competition because Lego Movie. This is his third week, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. So yeah, Get Out, Collide, and Rock Dog are movies this week. Next week you have The Shack, Before I Fall, and of course Logan. And Logan may actually start my podcast reviews.
Ooh.
Yeah. Look forward to that.
Yeah.
So there's that. All right, so let's get to this to the Oscar picks.
Cool, man.
Let's get to the Oscars. Yeah. We're gonna start off with Danny's probably favorite category, best foreign language. Best foreign language films.
Yeah.
So before we get into the predictions, we're not gonna talk about the document or. We're not about to talk about the short films because not a lot of people get to see the short films.
No.
So we won't talk
aren't
about
those
them.
like private screenings?
Those are usually private screenings. Every once in a while, I think it's
like they'll get released.
Like together.
Yeah.
Like special screenings for like a day.
Okay.
So like no one unless you know it's coming out that day, you won't get to the short films. So we won't talk about the short films, which is a shame, but because not a lot of people get to see them. So we're gonna start with best foreign language film.
Yeah.
So the way this is gonna work, we're gonna tell you guys the nominees. We're gonna say who we think will win and who we want to win, and then anything else that comes from it. So the nominees for best foreign language film are Tanya from Australia, Land of Mine from Denmark, A Man Called Ove from Sweden, Tony Ederman from Germany, and The Salesman from Iran. Danny.
Yeah,
who do you think will win?
I think Death of a Salesman. Due to it.
By the way, the movie The Salesman is based
on Death of a Salesman.
Yeah. Because they're doing a play in the film, and there's a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. I think because that's probably the most politically categorized category that's nominated due to the whole thing because of the whole travel ban. So I just think because I know what the Oscars does is that they just deserve it because they deserve it or stuff. Like who wins is basically we'll just give it to him because he never got it before.
Yeah.
So I think Death of a Salesman is going to win just to make a statement.
I haven't seen any of these.
No, I want to see The Salesman.
I've heard some good things about The Salesman.
I've seen About Ellie,
which was nominated for. What was it?
No, aren't you talking about a Separation?
Separation.
That's About Ellie was released here.
Yeah, for like
years after,
yeah.
And I much prefer that than a Separation. So.
Separation was nominated last year, by the way. So I don't know. I've heard Tony Erdmann was really good. It's a Germany film, so I'm pretty sure those two are probably the front runners for best foreign language movie. So I have no opinion because I haven't seen any of them.
I don't know. I really want to. Australia should win. Has Australia won before?
I don't think so.
Australia should win.
I was about to say you're offending my Australian, but I have no Australian audience, so it's okay. You can keep doing that accent all you want.
Hey, I'm from Aussie.
So we'll move on to Best Documentary Feature. Nominees are Fire at Sea, Life Animated, OJ Made in America, 13th, and I Am Not Your Negro. I've seen OJ Made in America. I thought it was a really good documentary. I don't think I finished watching the last one, but I can still watch the last one.
Crime story, or
no, OJ Made in America was it talks about not just OJ Simpson, but everything going on before and after and during and afterwards.
Oh, so
it's a broad look at it. It even
covers his I'm taking my memorabilia back because you stole it, man.
So I think it does. I think the last episode that I didn't actually end up watching talks about.
You think he had CTE?
It's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still alive.
He's probably has a mild form of it.
Probably. I mean,
because he survived so long.
He took a lot of hits.
Yeah.
In the NFL too. So I think that's probably one of the front runners. 13th or I Am Not Your Negro. I think those three are the top front runners. OJ Made in America 13th and I Am Not Your Negro. I think are the top front runners. And maybe OJ will win because that was the one that
I Am Not Your Negro actually got really good reviews from what I read.
I Am Not Your Negro. I think it's playing in a few theaters around here. So.
Yeah.
Around here being the Chicagoland area.
Chicago.
So let's move on to Best Sound Mixing. Arrival, Hacksaw Ridge, La La Land, Rogue One, Star Wars Story, and 13th, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi are your nominees.
That's a hard. I think that's between Star Wars and Benghazi.
Everyone
wants Star Wars to win.
I think pretty sure everyone wants Star Wars to win.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Hacksaw Ridge or Arrival winning.
Mm-hmm. Arrival, they're all most of them are sci-fi. Or two are sci-fi, two are sci-fi, and two are
Arrival, Rogue One, and
war.
then you got 13 Hours and Hacksaw Ridge, and then you got La La Land by itself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Arrival or Hacksaw Ridge winning just because I remember watching Hacksaw Ridge, and the theater that I was in for some reason, because usually that theater's not that loud, it was loud during Hacksaw Ridge.
Oh wow!
And you can hear the bullets whiz by, and it felt like you were actually there. Yeah, it was pretty intense. Wow. So I wouldn't mind one of those two winning. I wouldn't mind Rogue One wins because it's
Star Wars.
Best Sound Editing. The nominees are Arrival, Deepwater Horizon, Hacksaw Ridge, La La Land, and Sully. Deepwater Horizon, the sound editing on that was pretty fantastic.
They actually, there's this one YouTube video that talked about the sound editing, I think, of the Deepwater Horizon and how extensive it was.
Yeah, they really went, and they actually built the rig.
Yeah.
Or partially built the rig, just so they can fuck it up and destroy it. I thought that was pretty cool. Nominees for Best Editing, Best Film Editing: La La Land, Moonlight, Hacksaw Ridge, Arrival, and Hell or High Water. Those are the names, and we won't get into that. But I think that either Moonlight or La La Land are going to win. Arrival will probably be in there too. I really want Arrival to win because the way, especially the last 10 minutes of that film.
Oh yeah.
The way it's edited, it is so awesome and it's so beautiful.
That movie, I think, is gonna be a movie for more movies to implement.
Oh yeah.
Because it exploited a lot of film editing, writing techniques.
There was a lot of
new stuff.
Technical stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't even story stuff. It was a lot of technical stuff. I mean, the story's great.
Yeah.
But a lot of technical stuff.
Yeah. So that's probably gonna. Future films will probably want to surpass that.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll be reading stuff, but like it'll be like Arrival or Arrival-like, and I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, well.
In my head, I'll be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen Arrival, by the way, you should. So yeah, and Moonlight, I thought that the editing for Moonlight was pretty good too, and La La Land, I think, just because it's La La Land.
La La Land. It's a Hollywood film.
It's a Hollywood film. And we'll talk about that one for Best Picture.
Yeah.
I'm really gonna get into that because we'll talk about that. So
I love myself. I'm from Hollywood.
Yeah. They love themselves.
Big egos.
Yeah, they have tremendous egos.
Yeah.
Best production design: Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Hail Caesar, La La Land, Arrival, and Passengers are your nominees. I think La La Land or Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them would probably be the best bets.
Yeah.
I liked Hail Caesar. The production design of Hail Caesar was great, and it's a movie about Hollywood as well. But I think La La Land and Fantastic Beasts will probably be the bigger ones because they're the more extravagant.
I should give it to George Clooney. He's gonna have a family now.
Just to him.
Yeah.
You weren't involved, but here you go.
Yeah.
You need one.
Yeah.
Because you need
more.
You need more recognition. Best makeup and hairstyling: Man Called Ove, Star Trek Beyond, and Suicide Squad. We now live in a world where Suicide Squad is an Oscar nominee.
Probably paid money.
Probably. Yeah. Although I will admit the makeup the makeup they did for Killer Croc was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I thought Killer Croc was a CGI character.
Oh really?
He wasn't. That was all makeup.
So you should do that.
That was pretty cool. I like when they do stuff like that. When they do practical effects. Practical effects are always better.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. So, but Star Trek Beyond because it's Star Trek. And if Suicide Squad gets an Oscar for the Joker makeup, I'm just gonna stop watching.
He looks like such a.
He looks like a pimp. He's a pimp.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that popped in my head when I saw the first Joker image. He looks like a pimp.
Yeah. Hey Harley Quinn, you want to make me money in Vegas?
God, that's disturbing. Best costume design: Alien, Allied, not Alien. Alien was years ago. Allied, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Florence Foster Jenkins, which is the Meryl Streep movie, Jackie, and La La Land are your nominees.
Jackie.
Jackie. Yeah, I think Jackie is a really good pick. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them again is probably a good pick. I think all these movies are pretty good. I think the only one that won't probably get it is Allied, just because it's everything around that is during the war, so we've seen that kind of stuff before. As for Jackie, I think it's different for Jackie because it's such a true story and it tells more about her. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily about.
It shows how her fashion.
And everything that
how
she's
she dressed.
And afterwards, with the whole interview and stuff. Fantastic Beasts again, it's Fantastic Beasts. La La Land is probably a clear favorite because La La Land. So there's that. So best visual effects. The nominees are Deepwater Horizon, The Jungle Book, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, Doctor Strange, and Kubo and the Two Strings.
Jungle Book.
If Jungle Book doesn't win, the only way I will accept that is if Doctor Strange wins.
Yeah.
Because those two are probably the top ones. But if Jungle Book doesn't fucking win, I'm gonna stop watching. I'm gonna stop watching the Oscars if stuff doesn't win.
Yeah.
But no, Jungle Book deserves to win best visual effects because nothing was real except for the little kid.
And I remember I saw memes. It was like some of the older parents who had young kids. It's like, those animals look so real.
It was fantastic. It really was fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't I walked into Jungle Book it's gonna be.
Wait, how realistic do the animals look?
They were real. They looked real. They looked like phenomenally real.
Yeah, they must have had some. Massive visual hard drive for that.
They had, I think it was new technology they were using.
Oh.
So that's what made.
That's what made it good.
That's what made it good.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm looking forward to The Lion King because it's gonna use the same technology.
Is Disney gonna patent it?
The technology, I don't know. But
did Disney?
I hope not because that way more people can use it. Because if they do the Pokemon movie, which they're working on, I hope they use that technology because that would look
amazing.
Instead of looking like some some bastard creation that no one's gonna want to catch, they're just gonna run away.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna I think that's what should win.
Mm-hmm.
Best original score, we have La La Land, Lion, Moonlight, and Jackie and Passengers that are nominated for best original score. Justin Hurtswell did the stuff for La La Land. Nicholas Brettel did Moonlight. Mika Levy did Jackie. Thomas Newman did Passengers, and then 2 people did Lion. I haven't seen Lion yet, and I've been really wanting to watch Lion because I've been hearing nothing but great things about it. But I thought who I think will win it's probably a toss up between La La Land, Jackie, and Moonlight.
Yeah.
Who I want
Jackie.
to win? I think La La Land's gonna win.
It's because of time.
I like the score, but I did like the score and the songs for La La Land.
Okay.
Personally, I did. But like I said, I think it's a toss up between La La Land, Jackie, and Moonlight.
Jackie should win. It would be an honor. It'll be an honor for Kennedy.
Yeah, because they need it now.
Yeah.
So best original song, the nominees are "The Empty Chair" from the movie Jim, the James Foley story. Have you never heard it? About that movie? Don't worry about it. I've never heard about that movie.
No, me either.
Can't Stop the Feeling from Trolls. How Far I'll Go from Moana. City of Stars from La La Land, and Audition, The Fools Who Dream from La La Land as well. So La La Land is nominated for 2, takes up 2 of the nominees. So I'm pretty sure one of them is going to win. I think Audition. If it's for me, it's Audition and How Far I'll Go from Moana, which I think are the 2.
Does that category even matter anymore?
I mean, it matters in the sense that the musical department gets some recognition.
Oh.
Because you get all the other people.
When those songs get nominated, do they have to have lyrics, or can they just be melody?
I think they have to have lyrics because it's original song, so they have to have lyrics. But the thing that bothers me is that I think all the other songs are being sung at the Oscars, but not the La La Land songs, which I think is kind of upsetting because I can only imagine how good it would be to see Emma Stone perform Audition live at the Oscars.
Oh, is it her voice?
It is her voice. They did all the singing.
Is there video evidence?
There's behind the scenes footage.
Okay.
No, but you can tell it's her voice in the film. The only gripe I have with City of Stars is that City of Stars is not the best song in La La Land.
Okay.
For me personally,
Okay.
I mean I hear it. It's on my phone. It's on rotation, but I would have liked to see around Another Day in the Sun be nominated. Best cinematography. You have the nominees are Linus Sandgreen for La La Land, Bradford Young for Arrival, Greg Fraser for Lion, James Laxton for Moonlight, and Rodrigo Pietro for Silence. For me personally, I think it's a toss-up between Bradford Young for Arrival, James Laxton for Moonlight, and maybe even Linus Sandgreen for La La Land, because La La Land it should be a favorite for everything that it's nominated for, but it's not going to win everything it's nominated for, and it probably shouldn't. But I think cinematography would probably be that. I would like to see Bradford Young win for Arrival.
Is this his first film?
This is. It's not his first film, but I think it's his first nomination, and it's also I think he's the first African American to be nominated for cinematography.
Oh wow!
Yeah, if I remember that correctly.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that for me, I think the cinematography in Arrival is amazing. So I think that should be. Nominees for Best Original Screenplay, we have. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the people that wrote The Lobster because I'm gonna get it wrong. So, but they are nominated for Best Original Screenplay. Mike Mills for 20th Century Women, Taylor Sheridan for Hell or High Water, Kenneth Lonergan for Manchester by the Sea, and Damien Chazelle for La La Land. Obviously, La La Land is probably my favorite, but I think another favorite is Kenneth Lonergan for Manchester by the Sea. Any opinion?
I think The Lobster. No one has ever done a movie like that. So, who would have come up with the idea? I don't think. Well, they've done like a similar thing, but not with animals.
Yeah, now with animals. I mean, The Lobster was okay.
Yeah.
It kind of lost a lot of steam by the end.
Oh.
That's for me.
Well, I've never seen it, but my family saw it and they liked it.
For me personally, I think it loses a little steam by the end.
Yeah.
You should watch it. I think
you know what we should do?
What?
We should mate. Like animals.
Yeah. Let's move on to Best Adapted Screenplay. Moonlight by Barry Jenkins and Terrell McCraney. Eric Hessier for Arrival. Luke Davies for Lion. August Wilson for Fences. And Allison Schroeder and Theodore Melfi for Hidden Figures. Moonlight would probably be... Moonlight, for me, Moonlight, Eric Hessier for Arrival, and Hidden Figures are probably, for me, the top contenders. If I had to pick between one of the two, I think I would probably pick Moonlight or
Didn't you get prissy over that? It's not adapted. It didn't come out.
Well, I mean, I guess. I guess you can make... Yeah, because Moonlight was based off a play.
That didn't release.
And then they made it into a film.
Yeah.
So I guess you can get stuff like that. But I mean, it's still a good screenplay. Yeah, so I mean...
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like... The play didn't release or did.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
They can make the argument for that,
yeah.
But I don't know. So I think it's between Eric Hessier and Barry Jenkins and Terrell McCraney that did Arrival and Moonlight, respectively. Best Animated Feature. The nominees are Zootopia, Moana, Kubo and the Two Strings, The Red Turtle, and My Life as a Zucchini. Obviously, you have to think that Disney is going to win. Zootopia or Moana. Yeah. One of those two. Yeah. I would love to see Kubo and the Two Strings win because I think I personally liked it more than Zootopia.
Ooh.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
That's just me. I know people are like, "What? Fuck you!" But for me, I liked it more. But I think Zootopia or Moana will probably come out on top, and I'd probably be Zootopia because it's the smart one. It's the smarter of the
safer one.
Yeah, it's the
safe one.
All right, so let's move on to the actors.
Ooh.
Best Supporting Actor, we have Mahershala Ali for Moonlight, Jeff Bridges for Hell or High Water, Dave Patel for Lion, Lucas Hedges for Manchester by the Sea, and Michael Shannon for Nocturnal Animals. I think there's no denying that Mahershala Ali should probably win for Best Supporting Actor for Moonlight. Dave Patel probably is probably one that can probably take it away from him, and even Michael Shannon can probably, or not Michael Shannon, Jeff Bridges, I should say, because those are good. But Mahershala Ali is my clear-cut favorite to win.
Yeah.
Best supporting actor.
Was Moonlight a bunch of unknowns?
Moonlight, the main actors, because it's told from 3 different perspectives, or it's the same person, but it's told through 3 different perspectives of his life.
Yeah.
But the main character was played by a bunch of unknowns.
Oh, wow.
Everyone else around him was Mahershala Ali, Naomi Harris, which is nominated for Best Supporting Actress, we'll get to in a second, and I think the final act when he's an adult, one of his best friends that we see throughout his life, he was played by someone who's also well known as well.
Okay.
So it was only the main kid or the main character was played by 3 different people that were all a bunch of unknowns.
Oh, yeah. I had that in my head. Get a bunch of main people who are unknown, and all the supporting people are well known.
Yeah.
A-listers.
Yeah. So Best Supporting Actress, we have nominees are Viola Davis for Fences, Michelle Williams for Manchester by the Sea, Naomi Harris for Moonlight, Nicole Kidman for Lion, and Octavia Spencer for Hidden Figures. Viola Davis, no question, for Fences. The trailers alone.
The trailers alone are really good.
Nope, the Oscar, it's yours. Take it. Just take it.
It kind of reminds me of the play itself because they're actually using theater acting.
It felt like
theater acting instead of screen acting.
Like I remember when I was sitting there and watching it, that first part where they're all together pretty much. It's almost felt like a play because you can tell like they're almost sitting where you imagine them sitting up for a play. Yeah. And I was like, oh my god! Like they went on for like 10 minutes straight without a break. And I'm like, god damn, that's impressive.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was
a long shot, a 10-minute long shot.
It wasn't. No, they cut it in between. But the way it felt, like they just kept the camera on Denzel. And he was moving around.
Oh.
So it looked. So it felt like they were going for 10 minutes straight. They were just like. It felt like almost like they had different cameras on them.
Oh.
And they were just picking up the shots. Yeah. I don't know if that's how they did it, but that's how it felt. But yeah, Naomi, Viola Davis definitely the clear-cut winner. Naomi Harris could steal it away, so I thought she was really great in Moonlight. Although she has very small, literally, she had I think she filmed her role in 3 days.
Oh wow.
Which was supposed to be a week, but they were having problems with like her work visa, so they filmed everything in 3 days.
Did she do a lot of coke or coffee?
Well, no, she's a drug addict in the movie, so.
Oh, okay.
So there's that. But yeah, I think Naomi Harris is probably could steal away from Viola Davis, but Viola Davis is the clear-cut winner. Best Actor, we have Viggo Mortensen for Captain Fantastic, Ryan Gosling for La La Land, Andrew Garfield for Hacksaw Ridge, Denzel Washington for Fences, and Casey Affleck for Manchester by the Sea.
Viggo.
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
No. I think it's either Casey Affleck or Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Those are the two top picks. I mean, you can throw an Andrew Garfield in there because his performance is really great in there too. Viggo Mortensen, I just saw Captain Fantastic like a couple weeks ago, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
I think it was really good. He was really great.
He's not one of those actors that are just typecasted.
No, man, he doesn't do a lot of stuff. He's very picky about his stuff too. So whenever he appears in something, it's like
if you're a picky actor, you know that it's a safe way to keep your career.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and he was great in it. But I think for me, it's Casey Affleck or Denzel Washington. Casey Affleck's been winning everything else, so I don't know if they're just gonna be like, yeah.
It seems like his career didn't tank after that documentary.
No, it didn't.
Everyone predicted that.
Yeah. Everyone was like, you're done, dude. You're done.
Man, you're done. You're done.
And everyone saw Manchester by the Sea, like, fuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, Casey Affleck or Denzel Washington would be my clear-cut favorites. Throw in Andrew Garfield in there too. Maybe Viggo would probably be like the surprising one. Would be like, surprise, bitches.
Surprise.
Yeah, and Ryan Gosling, not bashing Ryan Gosling, but you're in a category filled with a bunch of other great. Best Actress nominees, we have Ruth Negga for Loving, Meryl Streep for Florence Foster Jenkins, Elizabeth Hubert for Elle, Natalie Portman for Jackie, and Emma Stone for La La Land.
I don't know. I wonder if it's going to be.
This one's a toss. This one's a toss-up. Because you can clearly say, okay, yeah, Emma Stone. But then you got Natalie Portman there as Jackie.
Yeah.
And Meryl Streep's been nominated like 20 times. I think that's what it was. But no, I mean, you got Emma Stone in there, you got Natalie Portman in there. I think those are the clear-cut favorites.
She did Jackie's accent really well. My mom said, "It's like I can't understand Jackie. I'm probably going to have to put on the subtitles when I watch the DVD."
No, yeah, she was really good. Her accent was I had to I'm gonna have to get used to it a little bit. But no, after you get used to it,
Jackie herself has a very distinctive. She has a very distinctive.
And that's why I was surprised. Like she went for it and she nailed it pretty much. At least in my mind, she nailed it. So Emma Stone, Natalie Portman, I think are probably the top contenders. I guess you can throw Meryl Streep in there because it is Meryl Streep. So they'll give another opportunity to piss a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Especially you, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Not you listen to this podcast anyway. If you did, you're a fucking fool. So there you go. Best Director. Best Director nominees are Damien Chazelle for La La Land, Barry Jenkins for Moonlight, Kenneth Lonergan for Manchester by the Sea, Denis Villeneuve for Arrival, and Mel Gibson for Hacksaw Ridge. Damien Chazelle. My top picks: Damien Chazelle, Barry Jenkins, and Kenneth Lonergan. I think those are your top.
Yeah.
3.
I think Manchester by the Sea and Arrival.
I mean those. This one is definitely tough too because you have
just really good movies.
Yeah, just really good movies, and you have really great directors, and you got Barry Jenkins, who no one really knew or no one really knows, and now you have this great movie, Moonlight.
Is Mel Gibson going to go up there? It's like, you know who's responsible for all the bad stuff?
Jews. That's a touchy subject.
No.
But no, I mean, look, Mel Gibson being nominated. I mean, that's a good sign.
That's a good sign that he's making amends with a statement
with everyone.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Please.
But I mean,
he was drunk.
He was drunk, and everything. I mean, it's not an excuse.
No, it's not.
It's not an excuse. He said what he said.
Yeah.
But I mentioned this with when I did on a podcast with someone else. That there are people in Hollywood that have said far worse things.
Yeah,
than Mel Gibson.
That is true.
And they haven't gotten in trouble.
No.
They haven't gotten the lynching for lack of a better word than Mel Gibson did. Yeah. But even with that, you cannot deny that Mel Gibson
is
a
talented.
fantastic director.
Yeah.
Hacksaw Ridge was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Braveheart, Apocalypto,
Yeah. Signs.
He didn't direct Signs.
Well, he
was in Signs.
He was in Signs.
He was in Signs.
He directed Braveheart?
He directed Braveheart.
Oh.
And he was nominated for. I think he was nominated and won for Braveheart.
Oh wow.
And that was the last time he was nominated for an Oscar, I think.
Oh wow.
And he won. So I was Passion of the Christ was the other one I was going to mention. So he's a great director.
Maybe Jodie Foster vouched for him. He's my BFF. He's my BFF. Every straight guy gotta have a lesbian BFF. every gay guy gotta have a straight girl BFF.
So yeah, I mean, he's making amends, which is good because we should have more Mel Gibson because he's a talented.
He's really good.
He's a really good director. All right, Best Picture. This is the final category we're going to talk about. Nominees: La La Land, Moonlight, Manchester by the Sea, Arrival, Lion, Hidden Figures, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water, and Fences.
Oh, that's hard.
Top three, pretty much are the top three I mentioned: La La Land, Moonlight, and Manchester by the Sea. I think those are the top three movies. This is a good. They
should give it to Arrival because it's about empathy.
They should.
Screw Trump, empathy.
Like fuck you, La La Land, and Moonlight, and Manchester by the Sea. No, we're giving it to Arrival.
Yeah.
But no, I think I mean, and so I was gonna mention with La La Land. You know, ever since it came out, everyone was like, I love La La Land. And then like a few weeks later, I was like, fuck La La Land.
Yeah.
And to me, fuck you. Because, first of all, it's a good movie. It's not the perfect movie. I will admit it's not perfect. And as much as I like La La Land and love La La Land, I know it's not perfect. It's not perfect by any means of the imagination.
But they love
movie is perfect.
They love themselves.
Yeah. No movie is perfect. But it's a movie about Hollywood.
Yeah.
And the Oscars and Hollywood love movies about themselves.
Yeah.
Argo, The Artist. Which are all won Best Picture nominees.
Oh yeah.
What was the other one? I forgot what the other one was, but there was another one. They're all movies about Hollywood, and Hollywood loves movies about themselves. La La Land, even though it's a story about Hollywood, it's also a musical, which hasn't been done in a while.
No. Oh wow.
No one really does.
Nobody does that
because there's not an audience for it anymore.
Didn't make enough money to make a profit.
La La Land, yeah.
Okay.
La La Land earned its budget back. I think it was like this third week of its release, which is pretty good for a musical.
Yeah, that
no one does anymore.
That does not exist.
But ever since La La Land, like the thing about La La Land is like, it's like La La Land, and then like no, fuck La La Land.
No.
I'm like no, like if you're, and then there's a bunch of art. Like you look up La La Land and Oscars, and there's a bunch like less than half of it is positive. Because everyone wants to nitpick on La La Land for what it's doing and what it stands for and everything else, which is fine. If you want to have your opinion, that's fine. It's great. But if you're gonna do that for La La Land, do it for every other movie that's nominated. Do it for Moonlight. There's stuff about maybe Moonlight. And I'm not bashing on Moonlight. Don't get me wrong. I love Moonlight. I love the fact that it took its message, which is about gays, not just gays, but people black who are gays in the ghetto of Miami. Yeah. Which is a big no-no, and that's something you don't touch at all.
You want to go to a club?
So exactly, it's like
it's gang lounge.
You don't do that. You don't talk about that. So when you do a movie like Moonlight, it's important because it's a very important subject matter, and it's a great movie. It's
never been done.
Exactly, it's never been done. It's never been told that way with such respect.
Was the director black as well?
The Barry Jenkins is black, and the character.
So it's not some white guy.
It's not some white guy.
Some white guy just saying, you know what, this is how you live.
It's not like Straight Outta Compton where it was written by a bunch of white people. Where everyone was pissed off about it.
Yeah.
It's based off him, like the main character is based off him. I don't know if it's like all of it's based off him, but some of it's based off him.
Who, the director?
Like, the director.
Why do they say it's adapted?
Because it was a play written by him with someone else.
Oh, okay.
Like the mother in the movie is based off his mother.
Okay.
And I think he wrote some aspects of himself in the main character.
Man.
But I don't know if it's actually him. I think he just wrote some aspects of it.
Started from the bottom
now. Exactly. Now he's an Oscar nominee. Manchester by the Sea. It's a movie about, loss. It's a movie about depression.
Yeah.
It's also, it feels disjointed, but the reason why it's disjointed is because I think it's telling its story in a real way.
Yeah.
It's telling a story like everyone grieves differently, and that's kind of
true.
what it was about. Arrival, we've talked about Arrival. It's amazing. It's an amazing movie. Lion, again, I haven't seen Lion. Hidden Figures, I liked Hidden Figures. I didn't like it as much as other people liked Hidden Figures, because everyone's like, oh, this is the best movie ever. Woo! So it gets personally, and this
I think whenever some film is compared with the greatest movie in existence, I think it's probably overrated.
And that's what people were saying about La La Land. It's like, oh, it's the best movie. Like, no, it's not.
No,
like,
it's not.
Even when I wrote my review for La La Land, I was like, it's got some issues.
No, they're just selling it.
Exactly, they're just selling it. So Hidden Figures, I mean, it gets a bit, for me personally, it gets a bit melodramatic at some parts. Yeah. So it's like that's kind of ruined the experience for me. Hacksaw Ridge, phenomenal. It's great. Like I mentioned, it was fantastic.
It's funny. It's an oxymoron movie. It's a movie about non-violence while being sent to war by being really violent.
Exactly. Yeah. And Hell or High Water was fantastic. There's a lot more to Hell or High Water if you watch the movie just to watch it. It's a movie about these brothers who rob a bank because the bank screwed their mom over, and now they're robbing it back. But if you really sit down and watch it again, there's a lot of socio-political elements to
Did Al Pacino have a guest star role in it?
No.
Oh.
Why?
You don't remember that Al Pacino movie?
Which? I know what you're talking about. Yeah. But no, exactly.
Come on. You're gonna walk past the street. Hey, what's up?
And Fences. We briefly talked about Fences
really
already. And that was really great too. And that talks about a little bit about the black families as well.
Yeah. Through a black perspective.
With
not some white guy.
Exactly, not some white guy.
This is how you live.
Yeah, directed by Denzel Washington as well. So that's pretty much. I just mentioned La La Land because it's the one that's like the clear favorite, and every year this happens. Like, there's a clear favorite movie, let's rag on it for no reason, just because it's a clear favorite. You can rag on La La Land all you want. I mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it. No. That's your right, and that's your opinion as a viewer and as an audience member. But if you're gonna do it for one movie, for me, you should do it for all these movies, because there are problems with all these movies that you can go back and look at. What are the problems
with Arrival?
For Arrival, I mean, yeah.
Ooh, it's near perfect.
I put myself in a corner now. Now I'm trying to get myself out. No, yeah. I guess Arrival. I guess for me personally, it took a while for the setup to really get going.
Oh, okay.
But that was just for me.
So it was slow.
It was slow in the beginning, but I think it needed to be slow.
Yeah.
Because it needed you to fall into what you thought you were watching.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil it, but the beginning.
Yeah.
You know how the beginning plays out. So
her son passes away. Stuff like that.
So it needs you to fall into that a little bit.
So time.
Exactly.
Through language.
Non-linear time. So for me, and again, I haven't seen Lion, so I can't say anything about Lion. Hidden Figures, like I mentioned, it feels a little bit melodramatic at times, but it is an important story to tell, and especially the fact that it's 2017 and practically no one knew about this story. Because this is a real story.
What was Hidden Figures?
Hidden Figures was the women that work at NASA that help John Glenn get into space.
I've known about it, but that's because I'm a nerd. Yeah.
Hacksaw Ridge, again, it falls a little bit into the slowness. Hell or High Water, again, if you don't know going in that there is a bunch of other themes, you kind of get lost in all of it. And Moonlight, personally for me, Moonlight, it felt a little long.
Yeah.
But I'm not really nitpicky about time because time is whatever. Time is
an illusion.
For a movie, if it needs to be 3 hours to tell a story, then fine, it needs to be 3 hours to tell a story. But for me, Moonlight, it felt a little long for me. And Manchester by the Sea, again, it felt just disjointed, but I knew.
What were the disjointed.
It felt just disjointed just because I think that's kind of
who died.
The purpose. The brother of Casey
Affleck.
Yeah.
Was it Ben Affleck?
No.
Was he named Ben?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't named Ben either. That would have been funny, but no, he wasn't. He wasn't named Ben. So yeah, I mean just to go, again, I'm repeating myself, but if you're gonna bash on La La Land, bash on everything else. So yeah, those are your Oscar nominees, and I think that's it.
Cool, man.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast this week. I want to thank Danny for
You're welcome.
appearing on the podcast. Maybe you'll hear him again soon. Well, maybe not soon, but maybe you'll hear him again on the podcast eventually. So go down below to the description/show notes area where you guys can see the trailers for King Arthur, The Legend of the Sword, and the 5-minute prologue for Alien. And if any other trailers drop when this is editing and processing and all that, they'll be down below as well. There's some links down below as well to interviews. Joe Carnahan and Frank Grillo talked about the Braid and Reimagining. That's down there. The director for the Metal Gear Solid movie talked about the movie, gave some updates, and even talked a little bit about why video game movies suck. Very interesting read if you want to go check that out.
Ooh.
Yeah. And there's another, Joe Carnahan, we mentioned it, but Joe Carnahan also had an interview about the Uncharted script that he did. Talks about how it's rated R and everything. So there's links down there to that as well if you want to go check that out. Go check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/moviepit, facebook.com/moviepit. Again, link will be down below. You guys can get an update on all your movie news, get updates, or not an update, but a look ahead of what we're going to talk about on the podcast. You can also go to my WordPress account, which is movieswithchris.wordpress.com. Movieswithchris.wordpress.com, that is where I'll do my written reviews. I got reviews up there of all the movies that came out last week. So I got reviews of Fist Fights, Cure for Wellness, and oh my god, what was the other film? I totally forgot the other film. I remember. It's up there though. You guys go see it. So you guys go do that. I'll be doing some more stuff on there, like opinion pieces and stuff like that. Probably do something on the DCEU. And yeah. So that's it. So thank you guys so much for listening to this week's podcast. Once again, thank you to Danny.
You're welcome.
And thank you to you guys. Hopefully you guys have a good, safe, fun week. And again, there will be no podcast next week because I will be going out of town. I will be getting in on Friday, but I don't want to record a podcast on Friday because it come in late. So there'd be no reason for me to do a podcast. But there will be a review of Logan, a written review and a podcast review. So the first time you'll hear me next week, or 2 weeks I should say, will actually be my review podcast for Logan. And then the regular podcast. So thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast again this week. You guys are awesome. You guys are great. Hopefully you guys have a fun, safe weekend. And as always, go watch some movies.
Whoop whoop! Yeah! Give it up! Movies!